Trafford was sold to Burnley for £14.9 million in the summer of 2023 after coming off the back of winning the Under-21 Euros of England and being named in the team of the tournament. And 2 years on from this move, after keeping 29 clean sheets, he has rejoined Manchester City for £31 million. And what does this mean for Manchester City's number one spot next season? Is he instantly going to come in and replace Ederson, or is he going to have to fight for his chance in the starting 11? And also, what does this mean for Stefan Ortega? I'm going to be discussing all of that and more in today's video, where I cover the transfer of James Trafford rejoining Manchester City. So let's get into today's video, where I look at how important the signing of James Trafford really is to Manchester City's rebuild. In my most recent video, where I discussed Manchester City's current goalkeeper situation, I mentioned that Manchester City need to go out and identify a long-term replacement for Ederson, with the Brazilians' recent dip in form and also in recent injury concerns and pile up of injuries. And in that video, I identified Porto's Diego Costa as my ideal replacement for Ederson, with him being a very good shot stopper and also someone that is competent with his feet. And if you want to see my whole analysis on that, please go and watch my most recent video on Ederson. But you will notice in that video, I did not mention James Trafford. And it's because as of writing that video and recording that video, I was under the impression that James Trafford was going to sign for Newcastle. But as City went out and matched Newcastle's £31 million bid, we went and hijacked the move and signed James Trafford back to the Etihad. And although I believe at this very moment in time Diego Costa is the better goalkeeper, I think James Trafford's ceiling is so much higher and he can become one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And obviously, when he first left City, he did not have the best debut campaign in the Premier League, right? Obviously, he went on to be dropped by Vincent Kompany for another former Man City goalkeeper, Muric, in the latter end of the season. And a lot of City fans thought it was going to be the exact same case as when we sold Gavin Bazunu the season before. We thought Trafford was going to meet the same fate. But Trafford took, him being dropped on the chin and went into the next season in the Championship and really showed everybody what he is made of. Coming into Trafford's only Championship campaign, he went on and made 45 appearances out of possible 46 games, only conceding 16 goals and keeping 29 clean sheets, which is an absolutely remarkable stat. But to make things even better and even more impressive for James Trafford, he kept 12 consecutive clean sheets in the league. Yep, he went 12 games in a row without conceding a goal, which is obviously a new Championship record, but that is an outstanding stat. That is something that is truly remarkable. Now, a lot of you are going to be thinking, well, Nathan, he was playing for the most dominant team in the league, or one of the most dominant teams in the league. Of course, he's not going to concede that many goals because he's not going to face that many shots. Well, Trafford did face 104 shots last season, and obviously he only conceded 6, giving him a save percentage of 84.6, which is the highest save percentage in the league. And he also faced more shots than Meslier, who was in goal for Leeds and who had a considerably worse season by all accounts, costing Leeds on many different occasions. But it's not just his shot stopping from open play that's impressive. It's also the fact that he saved both of the penalties that he came up against last season. Both of them coming in their 0-0 draw against Sunderland. So, to save all the penalties you faced in one season is impressive enough, but to save both of them in the same game, again, even more impressive, taking his tally to 4 penalty saves in his career out of a possible 13, which is only 2 less than the 6 that Ederson has saved in his career, and he's someone that has faced way more penalties than Trafford has. So it's something that, fills me with very much confidence. Trafford also had 0 errors leading to goal last season, which is, again, compared to Ederson's 2 in the Premier League, which shows that he's a lot less reckless than the Brazilian. And although that we love that Ederson lives life on the edge, it is very, very irritating when you see him misplace a pass from out the back, or rush out of his goal, commit a foul, or mistime a tackle and get rounded by the attacker. But obviously, the main thing is, it is very difficult to see how these stats would sort of correlate into the Premier League, because the levels of attacks that you're going to be facing in the Championship are completely different to the ones you're going to be facing in the Premier League. But the reason I think that there is some hope for Trafford to hit the ground running at City is not like when he was in the Premier League last and he was playing for one of the worst teams in the league, meaning it's one of the worst defences. He's going to be facing a lot more shots, which means, and there's a lot more pressure on him to keep his team in the game. He's going to be going from playing for one of the most dominant teams in the Championship to playing for one of the most dominant teams in the Premier League. So it's not like his game style and the sort of style of play for the team is going to change that much. He's still going to be playing for a team that's going to be on top for majority of the game, and the fact that he's able to keep concentration for as long as he did while playing for Burnley, while Burnley were in such good form and such dominant form, really does fill me with confidence for what he can do for City. Because again, like I mentioned in my last video that you should need to go and check out to get some more context on this video, Ederson's lapses in concentration when Man City have had the ball for long periods of time are a very big cause for concern, and something that I think is a huge weak point in his game. So to see that Trafford can perform consistently in a team that dominates games, it is very very exciting to see coming into him joining City. As I mentioned before, James Trafford has a lot of potential and he can easily become one of the best goalkeepers in the world if we develop him correctly. And I also believe that he will soon go on to become England's #1, replacing Jordan Pickford in the England team. But it's not just his potential, right, that makes me think that he's a perfect fit for City, but he also adds a lot of much needed height in the goalkeeper position, with Trafford standing at 6'6". When you compare that to Ederson's 6'2" and Stefan Ortega's 6'1", that is a considerable height difference. Considerable height difference, which makes him more commanding from set pieces and crosses. Because you'll notice a lot when crosses come in, corners come in, Ederson will be pinned by one of the taller defenders or one of the taller players on the pitch in general, and sometimes he struggles to come out and claim the ball. He either has to punch it or sort of fling an arm at it, hoping to get a touch to beat it away. Whereas Trafford can come out, he can be a lot more commanding with his height and physical stature and just come out and catch the ball, which is something that I think we could hugely benefit from. But again, it's not just his physical stature and potential that make him the perfect fit. It's his mentality as well. He's somebody that's come out and said that he's always wanted to be Manchester City's #1 goalkeeper, even after we sold him in 2023 and basically said, yeah, we don't want you. He is still determined to prove us wrong and be like, no, I will be the first choice keeper for Manchester City. And that is exactly what he's come back to do, to take that first choice spot. And that means he's going to come in and train very, very hard. And if he gets limited minutes in the cup, he's going to take those games by the scruff of their neck and put in hopefully blinding performances to show why he should be Manchester City's #1, which is something that's very important. The mentality of City players was very much questioned last season, with a lot of the players just not having that hunger anymore, or that desire to win after winning the treble and after winning the Premier League 4 times in a row. And James Trafford brings that hunger, that somebody that wants to succeed at this club, is determined to succeed at this club. And him coming in and taking that #1 shirt shows how serious he is about becoming Manchester City's starting goalkeeper for the years ahead. Now, with James Trafford signing for Manchester City, it now means City have 4 first-team goalkeepers, right? With obviously Ortega and Ederson being the 2 that would start games last season. So with Trafford coming in, that means one of them needs to make way to accommodate for Trafford. And with City being very keen on keeping Ederson despite interest from Galatasaray, it looks like Stefan Ortega is going to be the one that goes out the door, with him telling Manchester City that he wants to leave the club. So where will Ortega end up next season, and where will he start playing his football? Well, the only link and rumour I'm seeing so far is that Manchester United have contacted Ortega's representatives and asked about his availability, and Ortega is believed to have said that he is open to discussing a potential deal. Now, this would not be the most ideal transfer. We would not want to sell one of our squad players to one of our local rivals and Premier League rivals to help strengthen their squad. But if it's the only offer we get for him, I wouldn't be mad if the club or him, took that deal. Because at the end of the day, we can't offer him the game time that he wants, because unfortunately he is not good enough to be City's starting goalkeeper, despite the fact that he was very good deputising for Ederson in the 23-24 campaign, especially with the outstanding save against Spurs one-on-one with Heung-min Son after being subbed on for the injured Ederson, to basically secure us the title and help the club do something we hadn't done before, which was win a league game at Spurs' new ground. He's not good enough to be our starting goalkeeper, and we learnt that from last season. When he played, there was literally no difference to when Ederson played. Both of them were like absolute holograms in goal last season, right? And it might have been an off season for him, but at his age, there's no point taking a chance on it when we've got a promising goalkeeper like Trafford coming in, especially when we got Ortega on a free. So any money we get from him is pure profit. So yeah, I believe that, you know, United, they're looking for either some competition for Onana or a short-term solution to their goalkeeping problem while they go out and identify a long-term solution to their goalkeeper problem, which is quite similar to the goalkeeper problem that we've been having, right? I would not be, you know, mad at Ortega for joining United. Obviously, he's done a lot for the club. He was you know, very important in the FA Cup run when we went on to win the treble, and obviously, like I mentioned, that save against Son to help us win our 4th Premier League in a row last 2 seasons ago. You know, he will very much be missed, but we need to stop having players sort of live off of these moments that they produced or their legacy at the club, and we need to start afresh and have people here that are new, fresh, and want to succeed, not people that are living off of memory and reputation, because that is how you end up going down a slippery slope. Now, I think bringing in Trafford is a huge statement signing from not just the club, but Pep himself, and it shows that nobody is safe from this current rebuild happening at Manchester City, with Ederson being one of the players that Pep is most loyal to. But after his recent poor performances and criticism he's found himself under after the Club World Cup, we've went out and found, you know, a goalkeeper that could easily replace him. And I believe Trafford will start off as our cup goalkeeper, right? But I think by the end of the season, he'll be our starting goalkeeper, because he's not just fighting for his place to be City's starting goalkeeper. We're also going to be in a World Cup year, 2026, where he's going to want to be on that plane ahead of Ramsdale, and he wants to be starting in goal ahead of Pickford. So Trafford has a lot to come in and prove, and I think he's up for the task. And he believes he's up for the task, or else he wouldn't have took the number 1 shirt, and he wouldn't have come out and said that he wants to be City's number 1. But with all that being said, that's just my opinions, you know, on the matter. I'm very, very interested to see what you guys think about this transfer. So please do leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be reading all of them, reacting to as many as I can. But also like the video if you enjoyed, and like the video if you believe that James Trafford will be a success at Manchester City. And do not forget to subscribe to the channel. The goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I believe we can do that because you guys have showed me immense support recently. And also, if this is the first video one you're watching, please do check out the rest of the videos on the channel. You know, it might even further encourage you to subscribe. I'd recommend starting with my video on Rory Jennings, which is going to appear on screen just as I finish this sentence. But with all that being said, I've been Nathan, and I'll see you in the next video.
Shut down cases, they belly dots to the can't see faces. Chasing the bad guy chase it. You don't wanna be the one like Ace and like GT trying to turn them out wasted. Aye, tell a bad bitch come break it. Body come mad, come shake it. Then get back to the basics, bro, done shut down cases. They belly dots to the